What do you get when a Sherpa goes rogue? Well, in Royal Enfield terms, you get the Guerrilla 450, a brash and bold personality meant to take on the left field aggressive approach to life.
I came from the mud, there's dirt on my hands.
And this is the second bike in the Sherpa 450 platform, but it isn't a scaled down Himalayan, far from it. So here's what makes it the most aggressive roadster in the Royal Enfield lineup. The Sherpa 450 engine platform story began in 2019 itself, and the platform had to be versatile enough to suit various motorcycle formats. Hence, the conceptualization and work on this Roadster project began simultaneously as a Himalayan, and as a result, the Guerrilla 450 is smashingly handsome. You get a lot of loud and funky color schemes on this motorcycle, especially the Brava Blue, which has a blue front wheel and a subframe which also is in electric blue. Plus, the tank lines are all hand masked. The loud front end and lean rear end work well together to produce this lovely looking motorcycle, and you get these neat little funky pop color touches here and there that accentuate its bold personality. While the design language is similar, the Guerrilla's lean demeanor gives it a toned muscular roadster look. It has the presence of a large capacity motorcycle without being stretched out like its ADV sibling. And it does have the same feature set of all LED lighting, color TFT screen with connectivity and Google Maps screen mirroring, and USB-C charging as the Himalayan. Only the base analog trim misses out on the TFT screen, and you get the same semi-digital dash from the Super Meteor 650 or the Hunter 350. Now, despite the Sherpa engine putting out the same 39.5 bhp and 40 Nm as the Himalayan on the Guerrilla as well, the motor here feels more exciting and there's more fun to be had. And that's primarily down to two reasons. Firstly, there is a bit more oomph when you get off the line, and that's thanks to the more prompt throttle response. The acceleration is hard and the torquiness makes you reach triple digit speeds in no time. And secondly, this bike weighs 11 kilos lighter than the Himalayan. And how Royal Enfield has gone about that? Well, I'll get to that in just a second. Let's stick to the motor for now. Now, the drive from the engine is hard and heavy hitting with a chunky mid-range surge of torque. But the drive isn't one that will scare or put off newer riders from experiencing this. It has that sense of approachability that riders from the 160-200cc class will learn to appreciate and enjoy over time. And yet, the experienced folk who will make use of this motorcycle, well, they will be hooked when honing around. Since we were mostly riding on a cool day in Barcelona with far from chaotic traffic conditions, we couldn't let you know how well the engine heat management is or just how tractable the motor would be in our Indian scenarios. What we did find out is that the engine buzziness is more spread out when compared to the Himalayan. The vibes start creeping in at around 4000 RPM, and when you're sitting at 100 kmph in 6th gear at around 5000 RPM, the vibes aren't as pronounced as on the Himalayan. They are not quite as harsh. But on the Himalayan, as the speeds rise, things start to get better. Whereas over here, the vibrations start becoming more pronounced and they are present all the way across till the top of the rev range. Now, in single cylinder liquid cooled engine terms, the vibrations aren't quite as harsh or buzzing as much as we experienced on the first gen TVS Apache RR310 or even now on the RTR 310. And they are certainly not quite as more pronounced or heavy hitting as the first gen Classic 350 as well. But here we expected Royal Enfield to work on this engine and make it a bit more polished and refined, since it has been in the operation for nearly 6 months now. Royal Enfield has received a 29.5 kmpl WMTC certified fuel efficiency figure for the Guerrilla 450, 1 kmpl more than the Himalayan. However, since the fuel tank is just a mere 11 liters and not 17 like the ADV, the claim range is roughly 300 kilometers. And in case if you want the engine to be a tad bit more frugal, then there's always the eco riding mode where the engine response is dumbed down. While the construction of the chassis remains the same as the Himalayan, Royal Enfield has tinkered along quite a lot with the foundations to make the bike lighter and more approachable. The rake has been sharpened, the subframe is shorter and lower, and the swing arm is slightly smaller. All of this is suspended on a telescopic fork and a monoshock setup, both of which have lesser travel than the Himalayan, but adequate enough for a roadster. It rolls on 17-inch wheels that come wrapped in specially developed wide-profile Seat block pattern radial tires. Now, all of these changes contribute to a massive weight saving of 11 kilos. And since this Guerrilla is more compact and lowered than the Himalayan, picking it up off the side stand, which doesn't lean quite as much, is rather easy. And even putting it on the main stand, that's not a tough task. Well, hopping on to the seat, which is 780 mm tall, is no toughie for even shorter riders. And you are positioned in this rather canter forward riding stance, which is great for urban hustling. The scoop seat makes even the shorter riders find their footing very easily, and the seat to foot peg distance might be lesser than the Himalayan. And even after riding for 200 kilometers around the hills of Barcelona, I didn't find the seating posture to be a bit cramped even for the lower half. Yes, on the highway stint, you do face a lot of wind blasts as the speeds rise, but there is a small windshield in the accessories catalog that should help deflect the wind in case you are too bothered by it. And what this riding posture does is that it helps you enjoy the best part about the Guerrilla, its handling. All of the aggressive attitude that Royal Enfield wanted to evoke from the Guerrilla can be experienced the moment you hit the canyon roads. It can be ridden hard and fast and pushed like a modern roadster should. There is so much feedback from the chassis as it allows you to carry some serious lean angles without the sense of the front washing out or the rear end throwing a fit. It sways from one direction to the other in a quick but neutral manner without scaring the rider off its sharpness. The sense of ultra stability comes from these wide profile radial tires from Seat. Now the block patterns, well, they are more of a design choice rather than a functional element over here, but they come in no way of the traction whatsoever. And when you do decide to shed speed rapidly, the brakes on hand are fierce and progressive enough to bring this bike to a halt in an instant. Yes, when you do stamp on the rear just like the Himalayan, there is a little bit of a sidestep moment, but after that the ABS intervenes in a rather natural and progressive manner. The roads surrounding the city of Barcelona were pristine with hardly any potholes to test out the suspension quality. Over the small city rumblers or minor road undulations, the ride was okay. However, we shall provide a more thorough take on the ride quality once we have a proper go on the bike on our Indian monsoon affected roads. The Guerrilla 450 is Royal Enfield's daring choice to offer something sporty and brash and yet quite approachable and very Royal Enfield-like to a new set of buyers. It adds another dimension to the brand's legacy as the handling package on offer is truly wow. Now, if only the brand were to somehow isolate the vibrations and subdue them, it would be a far more enriching experience. But the sheer presence and command the Guerrilla 450 offers its rider is something truly unique in the sub 500cc Indian neo-retro roadster space. And as for the asking price, which starts at 2.39 lakh rupees for the basic console version and this top-end version costs 2.54 lakh rupees, Royal Enfield has got a very good cracking roadster package at its hands at a very solid price. So what do you think about the Guerrilla 450? Do let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and share this video, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell notification icon, and we shall see you soon.